Hi, it's Craig here. Have you ever looked at a television aerial? If not, go outside, look up at your roof. Now, one thing you'll notice about a television aerial is, well, let's get a picture up first of all. TV Yagi. Right, now I've just called it a Yagi. That was the inventor. In fact, there were two inventors, Yagi Muda. It's known as they're often known now, but for years it was just known as Yagi. Right, here we go. So, what can we see about here? Well, we've got these elements. If you follow where I'm pointing with the mouse, these elements, and this thing at the back called a reflector. Now, the characteristics of a Yagi is that most of the signal it receives will be in one direction. So if you look at the mouse pointer again, if you're pointing at a TV transmitter, and the TV transmitter's up here, if you can see where I'm wiggling the cursor, the signal, you want your Yagi pointing in that direction. So this bit here will be pointing towards the transmitter. The bit at the back, the reflector, if the transmitter's behind it, it's not going to pick up very much because it's designed to be directional. So that is what a Yagi is. It's a directional antenna. Now, they could not only be used for receiving, such as this is for receiving a TV signal, you can also use them for transmitting. Now, that could be useful if you're wanting to transmit and receive between one fixed point and another fixed point, because you can aim it up towards the transmitter and receiver, and most of the signal will be going in the direction you want it, not being wasted going off in all directions, which is what would happen if you had one of these. Right, one of these, like, bear with me, dipole. Actually, I want a picture of the thing, dipole. Right. Probably should type vertical dipole. Bear with me a sec. Vertical dipole. Right. Okay, let's look at this one. Right. So, if you image, let's get it a bit bigger. That's smaller. Okay, well, those with good eyesight, you'll see this bit vertical here that I'm pointing with the arrow, the cursor, is the vertical dipole. Now, ignore this bit at the bottom. This is the ground plane, but we'll talk about that another time. But this bit is what radiates the signal. So it could be a transmitting antenna or a receiving antenna. Unlike the Yagi, signals can come this way, and same if they're being transmitted, they can be going out in all directions. Now, that's useful if you're moving about, because obviously a Yagi is not much use if you're mobile, if you're in a vehicle, if you're using handheld radio. You want to be able to you want the signals coming from all directions because you're moving about, so having a Yagi fixed at a certain transmitter excuse me, wouldn't be much good. So as you can see, there's a saying, I heard someone say once, horses for courses. Basically, what the type of antenna you're going to choose is dependent even on the application, what you want to use it for, what you want to achieve. So just to recap, Yagi, you'll most likely see them on top of your roof for terrestrial television. All these Yagis, and they say outdoor digital HD TV antenna, 6-element VHF Yagi digital. VHF's interesting because most of the TV transmissions, certainly in the UK, well, all of them are on UHF. The difference being actually between a UHF and a VHF Yagi, well, the UHF one's smaller, the elements are smaller, the dimensions are smaller, because as the wavelength, so as the frequency increases, and UHF being short for ultra high frequency, and VHF being very high frequency, well, UHF is a higher frequency, but the wavelength gets smaller, and therefore your Yagi and your antennas are getting smaller the higher your frequency. Slightly lost my thread what I was talking about then. So, just to recap, that's a Yagi. It's a directional antenna. You can use it for transmitting and receiving, but it's most commonly used for receiving terrestrial television. Now, if you're wondering what I mean by terrestrial television, I mean it's coming from a transmitter on the ground, on a big tower, rather than a satellite transmitter in space, which will be satellite, not terrestrial. Okay, yeah, hope you found that useful. So now you know, excuse me, trying to stop coughing. Now you know what a Yagi is. It's a directional antenna that can be used for transmitting, but most commonly for receiving television transmissions. Next time you go outside, look at your roof or look at your neighbour's roof and you'll see one. Thank you. Yeah, this is Craig signing off.